I want to turn now to CBS News correspondent David Begnaud. He's also in Tampa, Florida. David, you've been in Tampa for days now. Tell us what you're seeing right now.
The rain is somewhat punishing, but it's nothing like what we're going to see when the hurricane force winds roll in after midnight. It's a ghost town. Irma is knocking and there is no one here to answer the door. First responders aren't even on the roadway right now because they've been pulled off for their own safety. The curfew went into effect at 6 o'clock tonight. Tampa General is on an island. It's a level 1 trauma center not far from where I am. The boiler system there has gone out. So they can't heat water, but it's running and it's safe to drink. On an island. Sounds like a worst case scenario with a storm moving in, right? Well, they've activated their best practices. They've been able to put generators on higher floors. Some of the most critically ill patients there are safe, we're told, but can be moved to higher floors if need be. At this point, there's a little bit of good news. Instead of this storm coming in as a Category 2, it may roll in as a Category 1. Here's what that means. The projected storm surge used to be 6 to 8 feet. That's what they were saying within the last 12 hours. Now forecasters are saying it could be 3 to 6 feet. Here's the problem with that. The local fire chief here in Tampa told me even with 3 feet of water rolling in as a storm surge, it makes it nearly impossible for his crews to get on the road and try and perform any kind of rescue. Also, on the other side of where I am, the Hillsborough River is being sucked out into the Gulf. It's one of the most compelling, dramatic things we've seen today. It started at around 12 noon with low tide. It's normal that the water comes out during low tide, but it was still happening when high tide should have been pushing it back in. So we asked the Weather Service what's going on, and here's what they told us as one vehicle rolls through, but that looks like a couple of news trucks that are coming in. Here's what the Weather Service told us. What happened was the hurricane was essentially overriding the tide cycle. So instead of the water coming back in during high tide, it's essentially sitting offshore in the Gulf in a big wave, if you will. And it's going to come back in, but it's going to come in at the same time as the storm moves in. So you'll have the surge and the water coming in with high tide. It's really a 1-2 punch. It's a worst case scenario, but again, the facts, the figures here, the worst case scenario is being downgraded just a bit. That's the good news here in Tampa.
All right, David, I can see the debris behind you blowing. Where exactly are you and just how safe are you in that area?
Downtown, we're safe. We're being very mindful of that, DeMarco, trust me. The lights are on. We've seen a lot of green flashes on the horizon. So there are transformers that are blowing all over the place. Again, there is no one here. There were people out taking selfies earlier tonight, but nobody is out right now. Within the last 24 hours, we saw on that I-4 corridor heading from Tampa east to Orlando, it was bumper to bumper traffic. So a lot of people got out of here, albeit at the last minute. Remember, when this storm first started making its way toward the U.S., the thought was it is going to shred the east coast of Florida. And then boom, it changed and it started tracking west. And now they said, hey, it's going to come up the west. So a lot of people here said, look, I didn't have as much time as I would have liked to have got out. And, you know, let's also say this. A lot of people have been critical. They've been saying, you know, you guys said it was going to be this high a storm surge, but now you're saying it's going to be this high. Listen, the forecast is changing by the hour. Literally, I'm on the phone with the National Weather Service every 30 minutes. So what they were telling us 2 hours ago is changing because the storm is now tracking a little bit more toward the east. So as we speak, Orlando, which is east of here, is in more of a bullseye than they were 4 hours ago. That's how precarious this forecast track has been in terms of nailing it down.
It is changing by the minute. David Begnaud out there giving us a ton of information in the past couple of minutes. David, you're the best. Thank you. Be safe, and also tell the crew to be safe as well.